Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's installment of the Regional Report, a GPEC virtual series. Let's talk about what we're going to show today. Today's webcast will feature industry experts discussing the current demand for talent, hiring, and retention strategies, building company culture, and where the future of workforce development could be heading. I'm Eric Sperling. I'm the Managing Director here at STN. The Social and Television Network is a local media company based in downtown Phoenix. We have a streaming network you can see right there. It's available to download on the App Store or Google Play. All of our shows and segments focus on local leadership, community growth, and actionable solutions. So I invite you to download that app. And you can also check out some segments with GPEC President and CEO Chris Camacho there, as well as one of our panelists today, Stavros, who's on the panel, also has appeared in several of the segments on the STN network. All right, today's webinar, some housekeeping items. If you haven't joined us before, today's webinar will run for approximately 1 hour. Audience members are muted and without video. This webinar is being recorded and will be shared on the GPEC website and social media sites. You may submit questions using the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen there, but due to time constraints, we may not be able to get to all those questions. Should you experience any technical difficulties, try logging out, logging back in. That usually fixes the connection. And then we do, of course, invite you to share this information on social media. Please feel free to tag GPEC and use the hashtag Greater PHX together where appropriate. All right, let me introduce the panelists today. We have 4 speakers joining us. We'll be hearing from Rosanna Trenter, Regional Manager, Partners Personnel, Chiara Hughes, Head of Technical Recruiting at Carvana, Stavros, Partner and Director of Business Development at Culinary, and Sara, Dionne, Director of Human Resources at Rogers Corporation. So we're going to start with Rosanna, again, AZ Regional Manager with Partners Personnel. Rosanna has worked in the staffing industry for 11 years. She is the leader in the industry that has excelled at building sales and recruiting teams that deliver great results for their customer companies. So Rosanna, let's start with you and kind of have you kick us off here this afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Eric. Again, Rosanna Trenter with Partners Personnel. We're a nationwide company and growing fast. Been in the Arizona market all my life. I'm an Arizona native, so very diverse in all markets. I actually have 3 offices, one in Tucson, East Valley, and West Valley, Phoenix. So my take today is hoping I can provide some great information to help some of our clients, with the talent pool that's going on out there, give you some strategies, some of the things that are working for us now, and then some of the things that aren't working in the market right now. So I'm hoping that we could really give everybody a great opportunity to give us great feedback on what is working for them and how we can partner with them and give them some other ideas as well.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to hear more once we get into moderated discussion and some live Q&A. I want to bring Chiara Hughes into the conversation, Head of Technical Recruiting with Carvana. Chiara is a technical recruiting leader and talent acquisition specialist, 22 years of recruiting experience, focusing on tech, strategy, and branding, including social media, recruiting, and DE&I initiatives. She focuses on building and maintaining strong internal relationships by demonstrating high level of integrity, responsiveness, and productivity, and loves to mentor team members. Chiara, thanks for joining us this afternoon.
I do. Wow. Now I'm tired and I'm going to go. Okay. So my name is Chiara. I work at Carvana. Eric gave an amazing intro, so I don't have to go more into that. But if you don't know about Carvana, we're an online company where you can buy, sell, finance, and have a car delivered to you online. We're in 4 major hubs in the United States with over 300 other markets. And what we're most known for is the vending machine, the car vending machine, which is real. And we are facing a lot of challenges in the industry, as my fellow colleagues here are as well. And we want to talk about solutions that we found in disparate workforce and keeping true to our culture and some of the things that we have done to mitigate that.
All right, thanks, Chiara. All right, Stavros, you're back with us here on the Regional Report, Partner and Director of Business Development with Culinary. Culinary is the largest privately held catering and hospitality service provider in the Southwest, serving clients here locally, regionally, and nationally. Culinary recently named a top company to work for in Arizona. Welcome back to the Regional Report, Stavros. How are things going in your land?
Oh, it's the hospitality industry. Everything's just super. Nothing's changed. It's terrific. I'm actually very excited about today's presentation. This is an interesting time for Culinary Concepts in the entire hospitality industry because we kind of live on both sides of the issue when it comes to talent recruitment and retention. We are faced with an unusual set of circumstances where our talent recruitment is more challenging than it's ever been, because in the United States right now, demand for unskilled labor, which has been a major source for the hospitality industry, is through the roof. And it's presenting an interesting set of challenges that we need to come up with creative solutions to overcome. The other side of it is, as a hospitality services provider, we are one of the solutions for our clients in the war for talent, in terms of other benefits, fringe benefits that they're providing to their employees, from line workers all the way up to senior executives. I'm very excited to hear from the panel and other industries and what is happening to them. And more importantly, interesting techniques that we can all apply in terms of our talent recruitment. Right now, I am watching my industry regroup and resurrect. It is faced with challenges that are far beyond our control. One thing that we can focus on in the hospitality industry, and has been a big, big movement for the last few years, is culture. You know, the hotel industry, the airline industry, they kind of got onto the culture movement earlier than the rest of us. The food and beverage side of the industry came along a little bit later, but we've been focusing so intently on it for the last several years here at Culinary, for the last 5 years in particular, that we're hopeful that focusing on culture is one of the ways that we will increase our recruitment success. And again, very curious to hear other people's takes on this. So thank you very much for having me. Thank you to the other panelists for sharing your time and experience. And I will look forward to communicating all of this with you and finding out what we can all do together.
All right, appreciate it, Stavros. Lastly, let's bring Sara, Dionne, Director of Human Resources at Rogers Corporation, into the conversation. Rogers Corporation is a global leader in engineered materials to power, protect, and connect our world. Rogers is headquartered in Chandler, Arizona, and manufactures products in the US, China, Japan, Korea, Germany, Hungary, and Belgium. Sara, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you, Eric. Happy to be here. Yes, you talked a little bit about Rogers. I've been with Rogers for about 15 years now, worked in many of the locations in the United States, as well as had many assignments in international spaces. I think Michael hit the nail on the head a little bit with the unskilled labor workforce and the issues that we are definitely having from a retention and recruitment standpoint, and having to kind of relook at the workforce after COVID. I want to say after, but maybe after may not be the right word for that there. But I think that people look at work differently now. We've had a lot of people leave the workforce. We've had this kind of work-life balance decisions that people are making differently now that this COVID experience is happening to people. So it's really put a new lens on how we look at retaining and recruiting people. So I think that's something important that we need to start talking about. The other piece is all of the things that it's changed from a seller's market to a buyer's market, which if you think about, housing or any of those kinds of spaces, I think those are the kinds of conversations we need to start happening about when we're looking at recruiting employees, because, when it's a buyer's market, the prices are different, the perks that come with it are different. And those are the kinds of things that we definitely need to start heavily talking about. Because, we are not only competing with the United States, we've had the same kind of situation where visas and international employees that used to help and support some of our manufacturing spaces aren't able to do that either right now because of the COVID situation. So we've definitely lost lots of pools of employees that we used to have before. So I'm excited to get some ideas, as well as kind of talk about some solutions that we've had and to your point, Rosanna, haven't worked.
Well, I appreciate you joining us, Sara, and let's do this. Let's roll through the panel, and we'll empathize first before we start focusing on solutions. And I think there is this tone even before this conversation started where, you know, we can feel the stress in the industry, we can feel the stress in the community. And as leaders, we're trying to balance that stress with calm confidence. And part of that is just understanding what some of those challenges are. So Rosanna, let's start with you. You know, specifically, what are some of the challenges that you're facing? And I like how, you know, we frame this where we're not yet after COVID. I think a lot of us think of that way. We start with, okay, this is post-COVID, but it's not really post-COVID. We're still dealing with all of this. So what are some of the challenges you're facing right now? And you're on mute, so I'll have you jump in and unmute yourself.
Sorry about that. Again, it's getting the people to come through the door, the unskilled labor as well. A lot of the challenges, people are coming in looking for a quick pay. So they feel like they can go in, start a job, get paid immediately. A lot of the challenges we're coming across because one, we've never closed our doors during COVID because we're a company of the human touch. We believe that we want to make sure that when we are providing the talent to our clients, that we've had a first look at them as well. A lot of the challenges we're coming across right now when marijuana became legal. So a lot of people are, you know, in the market, they think, well, it's legal now, so we could use it. But we deal with a lot of aerospace companies, a lot of federally regulated companies. So that's a huge challenge for us right now in being able to give the support to our clients without having a drug test that's, you know, going to pass. We try every platform what we can to advertise, you know, and then we have to be a little careful too when we're posting job postings out there because we have to have specific verbiage on there that is not going to be discriminating in any way. So it's a ball of different challenges that we have. We post everywhere. We have signs out throughout our building facilities. We offer referral programs to try and get people to come through the doors. So again, it's just trying to find that right niche that's going to bring them in. Job fairs, everything we do, but again, with COVID, we have to keep people at a specific arm's length with those things. So it is a little tough, but we bring people in, we find different ways to attract them. And again, it's sometimes who you know.
Yeah, and very unique challenges that you presented there. You know, we have common ones like the job fair, and then, you know, with marijuana becoming legal, that's a unique challenge for you guys, as it might not be a challenge for others. But then also I want to bring Chiara into the conversation now when we're talking about Carvana, specifically in your space. What are some of those challenges day to day that you're seeing and you're struggling with, and you want to get off your plate?
Well, so I obviously Rosanna mentioned some, Sara mentioned some. I don't want to be redundant with those, but this is where Carvana is a little different. If you don't know about us, some people think that we're just a tech company, but what people need to understand is we happen to be a tech company that just sells a massive expensive product online. And that product goes through 150-point inspection at multiple inspection centers across the United States. And when you can't hire unskilled labor to be at those inspection centers, the cars don't get through, which means we can't sell our product to our customer. Yeah. So we have a very different challenge. The other thing is that I'm in tech recruiting, right? I'm the head of tech recruiting, but there is a head of market operations recruiting. There's a head of inspection center recruiting. There's a head of customer care recruiting. And we all have crazy goals and hiring goals to hit. And the marketing approaches for each of those types of recruiting are very different. Right. So you can, for example, look on LinkedIn for someone that I might hire or corporate might hire, but an inspection center worker or a truck driver, because we have thousands of those, they don't go to LinkedIn to look for a job. So we're doing radio ads, print ads, billboards. We do a ton of billboards. I'll send them, like, I'll get an ad to put like our name on the back of a napkin holder in a cafe in rural Indiana. I'm like, put our name on a napkin dispenser, right? So I wish I were kidding, I'm not. But the point is that we really have a disparate workforce. Hiring for each workforce has a different challenge. And we have to come up with creative ideas and ways to attract that talent, then hire that talent and retain that talent. So that's so every problem that you guys have, and then add the supply chain layer on top of it.
Perfect segue into Stavros now, building on what Chiara just talked about, different departments, different strategies, different mindsets. What are your thoughts on what Chiara just had to say, and then kind of take us into your world?
Well, like Chiara, we have a variety of different markets that we're trying to satisfy and to serve, whether it's the live events market where we're providing catering services, whether it's B&I, business and industry, where we're providing food services for on-site cafe and cafeteria and employee dining. In the summer months, we're feeding wildland fire personnel. Basically, our entire business model has been founded on feeding people in groups. And during COVID, and any pandemic, which by the way, in my research has been typically a 3-year cycle, and we're about 20 months into that cycle. That's the one thing that it's challenging for people to do, is gather in groups. What it's done for our industry in terms of creating challenges, we now face this competition for this employee that we didn't have before, and they've been exposed during the pandemic in a lot of cases to a more regular schedule, to a more consistent 40-hour work week, whereas we're so much more variable in the food and beverage and hospitality industry. So we're coming up with new ways to attract employees that would appreciate that variable payroll, that variable schedule. And it's almost like where we used to have a broad selection to go after, a very deep pool, we now are almost looking for needles in the haystack. So it's completely flipped the dynamic for us. And coupled with that is the uncertainty on our clients' end. So we're trying to serve our clients, but there's an inconsistency with it, whether or not they're bringing employees back to the office or the workplace in any timely fashion. That keeps getting pushed back. We were at one point, September 1 was going to be when a lot of our clients were bringing people back, so we'd be able to serve them again on site. That got pushed to October, to November. Now we're talking into January and March of next year, because they're just as uncertain as we are in all of this. The event side of the industry and the hospitality industry, travel and tourism, everything from local regulation to international travel protocols are affecting our industry here in the United States. So again, we run into this recruitment of how do we guarantee to our employees that they will have a solid paycheck, whether it's a 40-hour week, a 50-hour week, a 30-hour week. We're trying to figure out ways that we can, through interesting and internal projects, coupled with perhaps state, local, federal support programs, and partnering with our clients, give them that work experience that they're looking for, and hopefully develop their skill set from an unskilled labor pool.
One quick follow-up, because it struck my ear when you said it. And I know, again, we have a large live audience of different community leaders, business owners joining this call. Regroup and reconnect was something that you said. And I feel like we're all in that boat of, and you mentioned a specific day, like, hey, we're going to regroup September 1st, and we're going to reconnect. And you have to push that back. And then you said in your research, you were learning about the 3-year cycle of a pandemic. And can you share a little bit more about that? And we're 20 months in.
So what I've learned, and again, this is my Google expertise here, so I qualify anything that I say right now. But it's my understanding that historically, pandemics have affected us globally on a 3-year cycle, where year 1 is a brutal presentation of the pandemic. Year 2 has seen an increase in things like death rate, which is actually being overturned with this pandemic because of our quick medical response to the pandemic, and the fact that technology has allowed the spread of treatment, and in some cases vaccination, globally, which then yields into wave 3, wave 4 that typically occur in year 3 of the cycle. And by about the end of year 3, we return to some level of normality, or what I like to call the before times. And we're kind of fumbling through this, and we're seeing it from the hospitality perspective in travel patterns, in return to workplace patterns, and even dining patterns. It's been very interesting. Technology, though, in our culture has really changed the way people respond to these stresses. And in some ways, it's given some of our industries, and hospitality included, an opportunity that we didn't know was there before.
Yeah, and great segue into opportunities as we move from the challenges into maybe what's working a little bit. And Sara, let's bring you in now. You know, Stavros was just talking about the regroup and reconnect and some of the timetables associated with those plans. Let's start talking about what's working. Let's start focusing on what are you seeing that folks on this call can learn from and maybe get inspired by.
Yeah, I think, you know, we're in a space where we didn't shut down for COVID either. We had people coming in every day, you know, working together in manufacturing locations that you know, needed to wear masks and get their temperatures taken and you know, not sit 6 feet within each other in a break room. And that becomes an extra challenge for people, you know, wanting to come into the workplace and do that every day. Right, that in itself was a challenge enough to hurdle, which required things like, you know, we definitely needed to do an assessment of compensation. We needed to enhance the sign-on bonuses, the referral bonuses, but all of these perks that Michael was talking about, this work-life balance and allowing, you know, changing our work from home policies, right? Allowing people to more frequently balance between coming into a building and not coming into a building at all, being able to, you know, realign what their work hours and work spaces were going to be. This COVID, you know, it did a lot of work on people's mental health and being able to, you know, getting, you know, EAP appointments and those kinds of things were definitely an increase in some of the things we needed to do to ensure that people kind of mentally could get through this and balance their home lives with their work lives. And those are important things in these kinds of spaces where even coming to work was kind of scary for a lot of people. So we made a lot of changes to those kinds of policies. Enhanced a lot of those kinds of benefits. You know, people talk about the pay and the benefits, and those are a piece of it, but a lot of this is culture, right? And the work environment and who they work with and how they're being treated, and the flexibility of these kinds of policies around COVID are very important, and educating people about some of this kind of stuff has been very important to us. So those are kind of the working. I mean, it's tough that we're also balancing, one, a rough market when it comes to recruiting and retention, but two, throw on top of that a very difficult, you know, pandemic that everybody's working through that haven't ever done this before, right? So everybody's learning. So being kind of flexible with each other as we figure out how to muddle through this is also very important, because the stressors in the workplace right now are just overwhelming. People are just, you know, angry and mad and, you know, disappointed and sad. And we've got to figure out how to work through some of that too, because otherwise people are going to be in the workplace for a short period of time, and then they're just jumping for the money because it doesn't matter anymore. Just jump to the next place and find the next thing.
Well, I'm glad you really brought up the mental health side of this. So we do have live questions coming in right now. And this specific one for Stavros, you mentioned being focused on culture for about 5 years. What specifically has your business done in regards to culture? It's asking for specifics, please. And I think that is, again, what we were just talking about, you know, creating a culture that can help us through these times.
You know, I think a big part of it, excuse me, was a shift in focus of how we actually viewed and treated our employees. In the hospitality industry, we were grinders, and we realized that we were literally grinding people out of the job. And we wanted to shift that. We wanted it to be more inclusive and engaging, give the employees on our team the ability to give that feedback, witness their feedback being absorbed, and the actual response to it. Specifically, we started engaging in more employee activities, all calls, annual meetings that turned into quarterly meetings with a large annual celebration. Over time, we actually implemented an app. We work with a company called Hub Engage, where we created an app that is specific to our company. It's kind of a mix of a social media feed, as well as posting opportunities, photo sharing, community service sharing. We actually formed a community club so that we could kind of reinforce our vision, which is a community nourished by selfless difference makers. We wanted to put our money where our mouth was when it came to that. We started reaching out to the community quite a bit more and engaging our employees to be part of that outreach. That really started to change the way that our employees perceived us. And one of the ways, and please forgive me, I'm not celebrating this as a pat on the back, but one of the things that we worked toward was becoming a top company to work for in Arizona. It took us 5 years to get that designation of getting feedback from our employees and really changing the way we did things. You know, we were a food and beverage company, but we weren't offering lunch to our own employees every day. We obviously realized that was a big mistake. So we shifted that. You know, now we have a really robust lunch program here where we're trying to figure out other perks that we can give to our employees, continuing education where we're not able necessarily to provide tuition reimbursement, but professional development. If they are finding, you know, one-off courses or other activities that we can support as a company, we will help financially support them in that. And even things that we're exploring now are what can we do with our employees to build a culture of self-sustaining. We're looking at financial planning. Are we able to bring in a financial planner to help our employees with their own financial planning? It's something we haven't implemented yet, but we're exploring it. These are things that the hospitality industry typically never would have considered before. You know, the perk was maybe you got a shift meal, and that's changing dramatically. I think watching our clients, in particular in the tech sector, and seeing the benefits that they were offering to their employees trickle down into the rest of the economy and the rest of the sectors, you know, whether it's that we laugh about things like bring your dog to work day. Well, that actually matters to people. Having services available in the workplace matters to people. Childcare matters to people. Flexibility matters to people. These are all things that we kind of shifted from the old school approach into the new school approach and are bringing into the hospitality industry.
Stavros, quick follow-up there, because you did mention community outreach, and I know that can be challenging too with everything going on, you know, whether you can arrive on site at a place or you have to do it virtually. But what was that second thing you said about your organization, the kind of that mantra for working in the community?
So we kind of did things a little backwards here. We created a mission statement a few years back, followed by core values, and we forgot along the way to come up with a vision statement. So we realized, though, that community outreach mattered so much to us, and feeding the community mattered to us, that we realized our vision for the community is to create a community nourished by selfless difference makers. We're very into shortened sentences here so we can remember them. We are hospitality after all. We don't remember things very long. But it was such an important piece to our leadership as well as to our employees. And that is manifested through community service and volunteerism opportunities, food donation, sustainability practices, and even things like our commercial outreach. So we have a Thanksgiving to go program where it's a buy one, give one. For every meal that is purchased from our Thanksgiving to go, we donate the equivalent meal to UMOM. And that enabled us last year to feed 544 people at UMOM and other shelters. So it's really putting that community money where your mouth is, and making sure our employees feel like they're able to help direct that. They can even recommend charities and organizations that we can support.
Question coming in for Rosanna. Are organizations looking at how to revamp their job postings? For instance, many positions posted that are labeled entry level require 3 to 5 years and a degree. How can we create job postings that accurately reflect the background needed?
So what we typically are seeing, even when we're doing our job posting, if there's a specific background that is required, we put on our job posting 7-year background required. It just all depends on the client. Again, sometimes you leave it off of there so that you can get these applicants to actually call in, and you can give them a little more detail about what the client is looking for as far as the background. even drug screen. You know, some of them will continue to want a drug screen, and there are clients that have opted out already not to request a drug screen on that. So again, it's just being very detailed and to the point. A lot of them now have even gotten away from not requiring a high school diploma, only so that they can continue to attract applicants and bring whether they're skilled or unskilled.
So, question coming in for Chiara, specific here. I'm trying to hire 30 technical call center staff. Do you have any insights about how hiring for this talent is going at Carvana, and what are you doing to find this talent?
So we're spoiled. I don't want to say spoiled. It's a little difficult. We do have this challenge, but we literally have a customer care recruiting team of over 65 people who those recruiters just hire customer care, right? So, but I don't want to say we're spoiled because it took a lot to find and hire that talent to recruit those people. But one of the things that I had mentioned that we do, we ask for referrals. We have changed we've upped our referral bonus amounts. We tap the retail and fresh college grad market. We have a very robust internship program. Like we put it on pause for 2 years because of COVID, but it's coming back this year. And typically and traditionally, it was our strongest source of finding amazing talent. So that happened. The other thing that we did was we've always had great benefits, and Stavros mentioned we're a tech company, so we're able to offer these like really cool perks. So we're offering a few more of those perks, which ties into our D&I initiatives, right? So some of those perks are around Maven fertility help. We offer mental health help through Ginger. We have financial planners for our employees. We do tuition reimbursement. We do all these things, but the important part about that is we have now advertised out that we do these things, right? Like we always just did them thinking, oh, we just want to do this for our employees. Well, we need that to retain talent. So we've pulled a lot of levers to get that talent. We also have Carvana Communities, which is our ERGs, our employee resource groups, centered around, we have a women's group, a Black group, Pride, Asian, veteran group. And then we also have Carvana Passion Projects, where if you have a great idea for giving back to the community or helping in some way, you can submit and then you get approved and you get money to run a grassroots organization to help a passion project at Carvana. So we figure our employees are smart and capable and they're very invested in these things. So we should let them run it. And then we support them by advertising it and spreading the word. So that's how we've been able to attract talent in customer care and a lot of our other areas.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up these ERGs and these employee resource groups. And it's a little bit of what Stavros was talking about too. And, you know, at the Social Television Network, we work with so many organizations that they try to advertise out the work they're doing in their community. So from your perspective, with everything going on and then in the DEI space, did you find yourself, and I found this really working well for a lot of organizations, just helping their employees show that the company is meeting the moment through COVID, through social injustice, whatever is going on, that our meeting agenda might all be about mental health and community growth and what we're doing instead of X, Y, and Z today. Can you talk to us a little about how those meetings and those situations with retention in your ERGs have kind of shown you maybe like, wow, this is something that we really need to focus on?
Sure. One thing that's very interesting, though, I don't know if anybody knows our exec group personally or socially or throughout in the world or commercially, but there are a bunch of very good humans who only want to hire good humans. And we always say that we hire the person, not the skill set. And when it comes from the top down and it's a trickle down, every leader who's hired under that hires other people under that, you know, it's like a tree. And they were very clear on meeting the moment. When anything happened out in the world, they really addressed our CEO had videos every like few days addressing the company, telling us exactly what was going on and what we were going to do to meet it. When it comes to the ERGs, though, specifically, they've been very careful to not make a top-down directive to do the ERGs. They didn't want it to be arbitrary because the world said we should. It should. So they said once that there was an internal group that said, hey, we want to do this. Okay, what do you need? What do you need from us to have an executive sponsor? They participate in the meetings. They're also very crazy and funny and awesome. They're very self-deprecating. And then they said, tell us what you need to support you, but get out of your way to have it be authentic. And so that was what we found. And like, I mean, our Pride group has over 1,000 people in it. So they've been very great about putting in the hands of the employees so that we feel supported, to create a space where we feel fulfilled and we feel a sense of belonging. So that's what we did. I mean, so the ERGs were a huge part, just to answer that specific part of your question. And it was important, and it has resonated, and it has given everybody a safe space, which is really important, especially with mental health being something important. I think it was Sara who mentioned it. Everybody's just bummed out, right? And you don't want that just affects a lot of things. And so we promote it, and we try to make it a very positive, inclusive space. So the ERG isn't just functional, but it's also a mentally happy space to be in, so that it's something outside of your normal workday.
And Sara, let's bring you back into the conversation now. You know, whether it's ERGs or community engagement, what are some of those solutions that you have found to build morale or build rapport amongst the employees?
Yeah, I think to Chiara's point, I think the ERGs are a great thing. I think, you know, looking at your policies and processes and kind of being flexible to change those, I think, is very important right now. It's really easy for, you know, large organizations to come up with some of these policies and like, this is our process and this is our policy and this is what we've done. We need to be a lot more flexible with adjusting those. Work-life balance is a huge piece, you know, changing those work from home things. I mean, I think you brought up a few of them, Eric, right? People get excited about bringing your dog to work, or bringing your child to work for the day, or these daycare services, or you know, how are we going to, you know, reimburse people when they're out for these COVID tests, or when they need to be out because their kids just all got sent home from school because the class shut down, or you know, all of those kinds of things are the flexibility we need to figure out having in the organizations today. Those have worked well for us, becoming much more flexible. The other piece I think we need to pay attention to is the speed with which we are doing the recruitment and the offering and that kind of thing. I think it's very easy to take your time, figure out, you know, is this person really right for us? Have really large interview teams, you know, can you come back tomorrow and meet with this person? We don't have the time for any of that in today's environment. So you have to ensure you've got the right team of people in front of these candidates, right? Are they selling your organization when you're doing the interviews? Are they kind of helping you recruit as they're talking to some of the people that they're interviewing with is very important. And then ensuring that, you know, we make quick decisions about people and are prepared with very, you know, fair and good offers very quickly. If we don't do some of that, I mean, the people go past us.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up this point of, is this person right for us? Because one of the questions we just had coming in was on inclusiveness and expanding the pool of candidates. And so the specific question is do you see this as an opportunity to expand the pool of candidates, considering we're talking about like aging employees, disabled workers, veterans, immigrants, the formerly incarcerated? Any of these can add skills and innovation and positive morale to a company culture. Is that top of mind?
Most definitely. Actually, I was in a meeting this afternoon about that exact topic, right? The workforce is definitely changing, and we've got to be more inclusive. We've been talking about, do we, you know, introduce a couple of supervisors that speak some completely different languages, because some of the people coming onto the shifts, you know, English isn't their first language. And in order to increase the pool, do we increase the amount of people that speak other languages in our supervisory or leadership group, right? Those are key things to inclusiveness, right? If all of the people that manage me don't sound like me or look like me, or so how do we help include more people by changing some of our leadership staff to make those people look and sound like some of our future employees need to.
Chiara, I see you shaking your head. Go ahead.
Yep. So not only that, your recruiting team has to reflect what you're trying to bring in. So we've actually made an effort to actually make the recruiting teams more diverse in terms of race, gender, orientation, everything you can think of, because people resonate with like. So we've done that as well. So we've made sure our recruiting teams are as diverse as the people we're trying to attract.
Stavros, how about you? Opening up the pool.
Well, our pool has always been pretty wide. We at times called ourselves the Island of Misfit Toys because we sought out those who maybe didn't have the opportunity for traditional employment with traditional employers. You know, that's the hospitality industry has long benefited from that. But what I'm very curious about are the formalized programs that are out there now that we've just started exploring. And in fact, I want to say it's called Second Chances. Somebody on the call may or on the panel may know about this, but those organizations that are out there that are formalizing the process and aggregating those applicants for us. Second Chances and something like that is very interesting to us because we offer the type of work that suits those organizations. I think finding the right fit for your organization obviously is critical. I'm intrigued by it all. And something I think, Chiara, you just hit something really important, and if it was Sara, I apologize. But the people doing your recruitment and hiring need to reflect the pool. If I take nothing away from today, that's going to be my number one takeaway right there. How important that is, you know, and we kind of have gone through this phase of what we call conscientious consumerism. Our clients are very concerned and very interested in what we're doing as a company, both in the community. I think I mentioned sustainability, things like that. Well, we almost have an activist applicant to go right along with it on the other end now. Our applicants are quizzing us. What are we doing to help the community? What are we doing to help our own employee base? And we're kind of responding to questions earlier than we ever thought we'd have to, and being asked questions that are much more probing than we've ever been asked before. And I'm curious from my fellow panelists here, you know, how are you pushing that message outward? I mean, for us, we're hospitality, so we've kind of been slower than to the adopting new techniques for recruitment, but now we're stepping, you know, pedal to the metal here. You know, video is a big tool for us at this point, and we're expanding our video. Are there other techniques that my fellow panelists are engaging that are getting that message directly to the applicant pool?
Go ahead. Anyone want to weigh in?
So advertising is a big one of them. One of the things that we do is we have videos of like a day in the life of Carvana, like why you're here and why you stay, right? And we happen to have a diverse workforce, and we videotape those people with our beautiful in-house marketing team, and then we put that out into the world, right? And then we share, and we have everybody share. And when you're 18,000 people like Carvana, 17,000 plus, your share network's pretty strong. So we have testimonials, like authentic testimonials from our people. The other thing is, and it's helped because of the pandemic, we use Zoom a lot more. When we're interviewing candidates, we use Zoom video. I might have taken a screen call before on a phone, but now I do it via Zoom. A, it's more engaging, and B, those people that you're seeing, you can see aren't always, it's just like a more diverse pool of the people who are calling you. So that's what we've done. So video is huge. Online advertising is also huge.
Rosanna, I want you to jump in if you can, just on some of those trends that you just heard us discussing and some of those advancements on recruiting. Anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, so again, ours is a little bit different because we're dealing with different industries, from manufacturing, logistics, you know, everything abroad. We don't do the video interviewing. Again, we never closed our doors because it's important for us to be able to meet our candidates face to face. What we're trying to do too with a lot of our clients, this is why with our clients that we partner with, we go on site first, we have our recruiters go tour the facilities because we want to make sure that we are seeing the culture in the business so that we are making that right fit for each client. We're working right now on a mobile app that we are able to give them content of the specific job application. However, we don't offer them the job right off the application because we have to have that personal touch. We never got away from the human touch of recruiting because it's too critical to some of our clients. We have a lot of work, even our company ourselves has implemented a diversity team. We need to understand the different diversities that are out there and our recruiters. We have specific recruiters for each industry. So they have to be educated in making sure that we're making the right cultural fit, the diverse fit, everything that's involved with that. But we are face-to-face. We don't do the Zoom on it.
Question specifically coming in for you, Rosanna. What industries are you seeing the most demand for talent in the region right now?
Actually, there's two. There is the manufacturing. It's a lot in the food manufacturing and assembly. And then our logistics, a lot of warehouse, forklift, material handling, just because that's a big bulk of the business here in Arizona. Got it.
And then that's the second time I've heard, the adoption of a new technology. I think Stavros, you said an app. We just heard another app being mentioned. What are some of those other things? If video's not my thing, an app's not my thing. Anybody else with some intriguing, innovative things that they've tried, they've done that they found really useful right now in either recruiting or retention?
On the retention side, for our current employee base, we implemented a program a few years ago called the Fist Bump Program. The M&M Culinary is for Chef Michael DiMaria, who is a noted germaphobe. So he does not shake hands, he gives knucks, he does fist bumps. So we decided to create a recognition opportunity called Fist Bump, where when one of our teammates goes above and beyond, anyone who is involved in that activity can issue a fist bump, and it goes onto the app. You actually, you file it, so to speak, or you request it for that employee on the app. It goes out to the entire employee base, and they are entered into a monthly drawing and then a quarterly drawing. And the quarterly drawing can include prizes like a laptop, a tablet, 40 hours of PTO above and beyond what they've already earned. So that recognition piece, it can be something small, it can be something grand, but as long that recognition piece for us was a huge movement in the right direction for our relationship with our employees. And that, it's for something. It's not the old, participation ribbon, so to speak. This is because they are being recognized by their peers for going above and beyond their job. So I think that, varying levels of public recognition have seemed to have a huge impact on our people.
I love that. I do have a question coming in, circling back to COVID here. How do you see complications about vaccine mandates or requirements affecting your recruiting and retention efforts?
Yeah, I can jump on that one for a minute. Yeah, so the vaccine mandate, we're still kind of waiting to hear what OSHA and the CDC says about mandating vaccines for employees. There are some employers taking a fast jump at that and requiring vaccinations for all their employees. I think we're seeing it much heavier in the contractor space or the the visitor space into locations where we're making requirements around that, and many contractors are making requirements that their employees be vaccinated in order to go into jobs. So that is definitely adding to the complexity of the workforce, because there are people passionately on one side or the other of that vaccination status poll. At the end of the day, the thing that we have been doing very heavily through COVID is making sure that employee safety is the first priority. We've had people needing to physically come into work and work with other people. And our goal really is to make sure everybody, stays healthy. So, we are not currently mandating vaccines, but we are, you know, you are fully masked throughout the day. You are 6 feet apart from other people, because it really is, you know, a number one priority for us to ensure that people are safe and that things aren't being, you know, spread throughout these, you know, gatherings or multiple employees in one space. So I think that's a piece of important information that as you're recruiting, right, people are questioning that status. That's one of the questions they have in interview, right? Well, do I have to wear a mask all day? Do I have to be vaccinated? Do I have to? So those are important things, but reminding them that it is for everybody's health and welfare, and that's a, you know, a culture of the organization, I think is a positive thing.
Stavros, how about you in the hospitality industry?
We defer to our clients typically. We do not have a vaccination mandate, but we do have several clients that require vaccination as a contractor to be on their property. And we defer to that. If they want an all vaccinated staff, we provide it. We track as much as we can our employees' status. We only ask the question when it's required to be asked, basically by a client. We're, again, like everybody else, waiting to see what OSHA comes back with, what the federal government comes back with. It kind of is this weird government versus market driven, and we're not really sure which one's going to win in the end. But right now we're open to anything that will help our industry get back on its feet fully.
Chiara, how about you? A lot of, again, recruiting in a lot of different areas, different departments. You know, they mentioned those questions coming in, like, do I need to be vaccinated? Will I be wearing a mask all day? How's that going on? How are those conversations in your world?
Well, we always lead with Carvana is never going to make you do anything that would jeopardize your health or the health of your loved ones. So that's that. For corporate recruiting and tech recruiting, we're 100% remote because we're not going to even take the risk for the people who can work with a laptop and a phone, right? So for the inspection centers though, well, so we deliver a car. When we were delivering cars to your driveway, there was only a quick point of contact anyway. So we eliminated that by social distancing and enabling we wrote the applications on a tablet or on an iPad. So the people who deliver the car can deliver it to you from 20 feet, like you don't have to be near each other. Plus you can go, and we did shut down the vending machines for a bit, but we did that. The inspection centers is our biggest challenge with that, because you're literally on an assembly line putting cars through. So here's what's interesting. Our cases of COVID that are most of them come from the inspection centers. And honestly, they're not from being that. Contact tracing has said that it's from people going to lunch together in the same car or sitting in a break room and eating pizza. That is oddly something that we learned from this. So inspection centers, et cetera, they do have to wear a mask all day right now because the COVID cases spiked, right, from the variant. Corporate and tech recruiting and market operations, all the other things, you're staying home. Some of the customer care have to be in there because, like, for example, we sell cars, so we have a title that's paper, right? So those people that absolute must have to be in the office are in the office, social distance, fully masked, and with the plexiglass and sitting desks apart.
Yeah. We're going to wrap up here in just a few minutes. We're going to give everyone an opportunity to kind of give some final thoughts. And I'll kick it off, Rosanna, with you and a question that we just had come in. Do you think there is an end to the hiring frenzy on the horizon?
Yes and no. Again, it's just going to depend. I just want to circle back a little bit to those, the clients that are requesting vaccinations, and cards. That's going to create a big struggle. I only have 2 clients right now that are requesting it. But again, that's just going to depend on the applicants. I see that there is an end to it in some way. I believe that with more and more of the lifting of some of these mandates, more people are wanting to be out and about a little more freely, working a little less with the masks, although we do want everybody to be safe and make sure that, they're not bringing it in or taking it back with them in any way. it's a scary situation right now. I really can't answer that question. Do I see an end, you know, a glorious ending? Maybe, maybe not. It's just going to depend on where we go with specific mandates on things.
Sure. Sara, any final thoughts as we close out here?
Yeah, I think the priority at this point is, you know, we're all in the same boat, right? So if we can kind of keep a, you know, as best a positive environment as we possibly can, it makes coming in and out of the workforce much easier, right? You know, the more frustrated people get about it, and the more that appears in the interview process and in the recruitment process and in the day-to-day work, that's where people decide, you know what, I don't want to come in and work there, right? And they figure out a way to either stay home, not be in the market, that kind of thing. So we need to do our best to stay as positive as we possibly can in a very difficult circumstance.
Speaking of positivity, Stavros, let's bring you back in as a regional report veteran. How would you wrap today's discussion up? Any key takeaways?
Definitely feeling more hopeful than I did a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
As far as, you know, is there going to be an end in sight to this hiring? In a way, I don't want there to be, because that means the economy is thriving. That means that there are opportunities being created. What I love about the last 18 months are the lessons that we've learned, and the fact that we in my industry, the hospitality industry, have realized that we needed to, and we have been placing a higher value on our teammates and their well-being and their happiness. And that's translated to how we're communicating with our clients as well, and being able to more actively advocate for our employees in our client setting, at the same time helping our clients come up with new and innovative ways to take care of their employees and their teammates. You know, you can't feed people at the office place. Well, you can deliver boxes of food and beverage experiences to their homes and coordinate it with a video that goes out through a private link. I mean, it's forced in a level of innovation, a compressed level of innovation in my industry that is really exciting for us. You know, and people say, will it ever go back to the way it was? I don't know if it will ever go back to the way it was. Nobody knows the answer to that. I hope it actually, we take the best of what it was and combine it with the best of what we're learning now, and keep moving forward with it, and hopefully end up stronger as an industry and stronger as a shared community as a result.
Absolutely. Chiara, you got to hear a lot of great dialogue today, great perspective. You get to wrap us up.
Well, I learned a lot. I learned so much. Thank you guys. First of all, this has been amazeballs. But so first of all, you, Stavros, Rosanna, Sara, you all mentioned some awesome things about what might change or not change, and where if there's an end in sight. For us, again, just to piggyback on what Stavros said, the creativity and the innovation, which is synonymous with the Carvana culture for us, has been great, and getting creative solutions to human problems has been amazing. So we love it. In terms of, will it change, or will we think it'll decrease? Well, again, we're an online company, and it seems that the whole world is getting digitized. So anything that can be put online or digitized is the future. So for us, we don't really see an end in sight. I mean, we have over if you go to Carvana.com careers, there's like 1,000 job openings in every sector. So we don't see it slowing down anytime soon. And we're just like, yep, let's do it. Let's do it. You know, let's do it safely and creatively, but let's do it. Yeah.
Thanks, Chiara. All right, this is that moment of the regional report where I'm going to have everybody look straight into your screen. We're going to freeze for a couple of seconds. Lizzie's going to grab a screenshot and we'll be good to go. Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. All right, Lindsay says she's got it. Again, to all the panelists, thank you so much for your perspectives this afternoon. And to all of the viewers, thank you for joining us. I know we have, everyone has a very busy schedule, so appreciate all your time today, and we'll see you back next month for the regional report.